Welcome to the 40th Annual FUN Fly-In and Exposition here at Lakeland Linder Regional Airport. I'm Ben Coleman, and I'm one of the hosts, one of many, here for Florida Aviation Network. And it's always an extreme pleasure to meet new friends and to see some old friends and some sometimes parched friends in the sun. But it's always a pleasure, and this is no exception. Today I have just ecstatic to have the executive director of the Seaplane Pilots Association, Mr. Steve McCaughey.
Thank you, sir. It's glad to be here, Ben.
You normally, I'm a little bit disappointed, Steve, because normally about this time of the week, you show up like a lobster because you have been fried by the Florida sun.
Pretty good for yesterday.
You're doing great. I mean,
I was
you
surprised.
must have had some SPF 8000 on you.
There you go. We were out in the air cam holding for the takeoff and landing competition out at the Seaplane event yesterday, and I was just so funny. I was thinking, oh no, I am going to be just absolutely burnt to a crisp today, and I'm not. So
Technology works. SPF.
There you go. There you go. Use that sunscreen.
Seaplane Pilots Association, one of probably the most foremost fun organizations to belong to.
Thank you.
Tell me what the Seaplane Pilots Association is doing to perpetuate aviation and seaplane pilot flying and the openness of our waterways for our freedoms that we enjoy.
Well, we've got a lot of different programs going on right now. Number one, working with youth, huge emphasis on youth. We developed a scholarship program a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. We're awarding 12 fully paid seaplane rating scholarships per year. So this is a zero-cost seaplane rating for the recipients, and it's a merit-based program. The only requirements are 17 to 25 years old, career track pilot, already having their private pilot license,
okay.
And here again, then it's based on merit. And we're awarding them geographically all over the United States. So we do a couple of awards up in Alaska, Northeast, Northwest, and spread them around here at the show. And once someone gets into the program, they give us their application for the scholarship. It stays in there. There's no deadline. So every time we do an award, they'll be considered. And we've trained over 24 pilots in 2 years, the first 2 years of the program.
That's a great program. It really is. And the more that you will do to perpetuate the seaplane utilization, it's just fun.
Yeah.
Steve, and the practical aspect, share with us just quickly some of the practical application of seaplanes and what people don't think about. And I know you got a whole hip pocket full of them,
yeah.
But you know, it's not just going out and playing with an airplane. Yeah, it's a boat, it's a plane, but what is the practical application of the seaplane app?
There's a lot. You know, number one, we want people to go out and have fun. And the majority of seaplane pilots are probably recreational, but there's a lot of other uses. Number one, for a general aviation pilot that's looking to get better stick and rudder skills in the advent of glass cockpits. A lot of the training today, a lot of the collegiate programs are using glass cockpits. We're not really instilling good stick and rudder skills, good airmanship skills in these pilots. So I'd say first and foremost, that's an avenue for seaplanes in itself, is getting exposure to a different type of flying. But beyond that, we have airlines, we have Tropic Ocean Airways, we have Key West Seaplanes, we have ProMech, all here in Florida, operating commercial seaplane services going to the Bahamas, going to Dry Tortugas. We have search and rescue, people using environmental studies, oil field support, supporting the oil wells in the Mississippi Delta, fish spotting, U.S. Fish and Wildlife, single largest user of seaplanes in the United States. Kenmore Air Harbor.
And you can actually
on and on.
you can actually feed yourself with a seaplane too.
Well, that's the whole and that's what I was getting at.
You fly out into a lake where there's nobody else flying, and you're going to fish. You're going to catch fish because there's nobody else fishing.
We have a lot of recreational use from seaplanes from professional fishing guides, professional hunting guides that will take their clients out into these remote areas by seaplanes. And so, yes, they can be something that is purely recreational, but you can make a living flying seaplanes, and that's one of the things I like to tell people. You don't have to be at 41,000 feet flying on autopilot.
That's true.
You know, you can make a living down in the trees flying on water where we like to fly.
Steve, from a media standpoint, what can we do to help perpetuate the Seaplane Pilots Association and just the over general seaplane industry? What can we do from a media aspect other than taking it to the camera and trying to get the word out? But there just seems to be something else that we can do to enjoy not only the sport, but the industry. It's a combination of all of that.
It is, and I really want to tell the story to a greater number of people. I think, you know, the general aviation community has a problem that we really haven't sold ourselves to the non-flying public enough. And one of the things that I think is a very powerful with media is that we can take our lifestyle, we can take our message to more people through television than we can in any other way. We're a small association with a small amount of staff, and I can get my message out there more through talking on television and sharing the lifestyle than most other, you know, assets that I have to tell that story.
Steve, are you a CFI?
I am not a CFI. We're changing that.
But you're going to learn this. What percentage of our perception is the highest of what of our senses that we have to pull from to learn?
Visual. Well, actual hands-on knowledge would be number one.
Visual.
And then visual's number two.
Visual. That's We have a little thing going on with Steve and I, because I'm always I'm watching him. I'm watching you. But it is visual, and I know of a lot of different things, and you're heavily involved in the visual aspect and the media.
Yes.
Very, very key, very vital to making it exposed to those who aren't familiar with it. But how do we get people to a seaplane base to get that experience? Because we're talking to a sliver of,
we are.
You know, even the pilot population, the mechanic population, is a sliver of the population.
Yes.
However, you take the seaplane pilots,
now you're getting very small.
We're getting down into micro slivers.
So here's the ratio. You figure there's 350 million Americans in the United States. Out of that 350 million, we'll say about 600,000 registered pilots, realistically. Well, there's probably less than 10,000 active seaplane pilots, maybe 30,000. It's right under 30,000 total seaplane pilots, but only about 1/3 of those are active. So this is a really interesting issue. Only 3%, you know, as we look at AOPA, when we look at the challenges of EAA and AOPA and member retention and, you know, what's going on in the GA community, I've got a fully untapped resource of pre-qualified customers in the aviation community because only 3% of pilots are seaplane pilots. So number one, we want to look at that 97% of pilots that are not seaplane pilots, but furthermore, we want to take the message to the larger general public as well.
Steve, in 1 minute or less, tell me what the Seaplane Pilots Association is going to do to here in the near future.
Yes.
As a maybe a base of operations.
There you go.
That could help us tell the story.
What would you be leading me there in that direction, maybe?
I'm just dropping breadcrumbs.
Well, our primary mission is to preserve, promote, and protect seaplane flying. And in order to accomplish that, in 42 years, we've never had a permanent home. So right now we're looking to raise money. We're not taking any member money, but we've been working with the city of Winter Haven to develop a fully serviceable seaplane base with a seaplane ramp for amphibs, floating docks, a shoreline, most importantly, no fences. And we're going to use 70% of the facility for community outreach to do workshops and to bring Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts in and expose the next generation to seaplanes.
Wow, I can envision maybe a museum.
Maybe.
A seaplane museum. What a concept, what a
Might
thought.
be happening.
Sorry about that. Steve, it's always a pleasure to talk
pleasure.
with you and to see what you're doing here to help us in this industry. But
Great.
and folks in your comfort of your living room or your car or wherever you are where you're hearing or seeing this, thank you for joining us.